All right there, Fangs and Infernos. We're coming back at you with one more when it comes here at New Jersey HorrorCon, and we're talking to this guy. This is Joey. You might know him, of course, from another appearance that he might have made on an affiliate show of Vampire and Devils, but we'll talk about that another time because we're going to talk about this right here. First and foremost, Joey Cassata, my friend, thank you so much for giving us a little more of your time.
Dude, of course. I love you guys. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. And New Jersey HorrorCon, Peter, Chris, you and Kiss go way, way back. But it's a big, family environment. I mean, of course, Steve Brown's here, and there's just so much going on. But in a con situation like this, where there's so much activity and so much going on, how does that kind of stuff work out for you? Because it can definitely be a lot to process.
Oh, it's great. Listen, I know it's called New Jersey HorrorCon, but this is really a Peter Chris event. This is, Peter's headlining this event. Most of the people are here to see Peter. So, us being part of that KISS family, me doing, my KISS work, and Steve Brown doing his stuff with Ace, we're all a big family. So all the fans, the KISS Army is here to support all of us. So it's great.
Absolutely, for sure. And of course, with us, losing such a vital member of the KISS family recently, I feel like, of course, this is a Peter Chris event, but it's family, which you had said. And so, knowing that somebody is now no longer with the family is always got to be a little bit of, a sad situation. But of course, that's when family comes together.
Of course, it's heartbreaking without Ace, but now we have to celebrate who's here. So we're here to celebrate Peter. He's 80 now. We want to make sure that Peter has the best time. He just released a new record. He's got an amazing turnout, sold out both days. So we couldn't ask for anything more.
Absolutely, Mrs. Devil was one of the fans that went to that for sure. Yeah. So definitely awesome when it comes to that. And so, how about yourself? Of course, you're here. You've got all your music situation and the stuff that's going on. But you sit down and you put words to pages. So tell us a little bit about that, because of course writing in a large form situation, that's an undertaking.
Listen, I love writing. It's something that I've been doing for years now. I started with my autobiography about 6 or 7 years ago. This is my latest book. It's about the three KISS drummers, chronological order, kind of telling the history of the three drummers. Peter auditioning for KISS, and where was Eric during that time? Where was Eric Singer during that time? It kind of follows the three drummers along their journey. But writing is just, it's very therapeutic. I love doing research. I love doing, in-depth stuff. And I try to create things that I want to read. Like, I wanted to read a book like this for years. I never could read it because it wasn't available. So I said, you know what? I'll write it.
Absolutely. And before I kick it over to Devil, let him take it away. When it comes to this book, talk a little bit about your personal relationships with those three drummers. Have you had a lot of interaction with them individually over the years?
Listen, I've been very fortunate. I saw KISS. I was 5 years old. Madison Square Garden changed my life. Wanted to play the drums for the rest of my life. I saw Peter Chris live, go up on that drum riser, doing his drum solo. It was the best thing I've ever seen. Changed my life. And over the years, now that I can call them my friends, it changed my life. I'm great friends with Peter now. I'm friends with Eric Carr's family. I never got to meet Eric, but over the years I've become very close with his family. Even worked on his cartoon, The Rockheads, with his family. And then with Eric Singer, same thing. I toured with KISS when Eric Singer was in the band. So him and I got really close, just loving drumming and talking about drumming over the years. He actually introduced me. These are my sticks right here. So I use surfboard wax on my sticks, and Eric Singer actually taught me that when I was touring with KISS. We were playing outdoor sheds. It was 100 degrees in Texas, and my sticks were getting super slippery, and he showed me to use this wax on my sticks. I haven't played a show since then, probably 22 years now, without them.
Oh, wow.
So it's been an incredible journey.
That's awesome, man. Devil.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell the the Fangs and the Infernos. How did you get involved with working with KISS? Like, how did that first get involved, and being able to just be in that proximity with them and meeting the guys? Obviously, you said you saw them in Madison Square Garden at a young age, so obviously they were somebody that inspired you to be a musician. But how did you get to work with them first off professionally?
I've always obviously been a big KISS fan my whole life, but I was never, I never was a person that wanted autographs or wanted to meet the band. I wanted to work with the guys. I wanted to become friends with my heroes. I wanted to become peers with them and fellow musicians. So I worked my ass off for dozens and dozens and dozens of years. I've been playing since I'm 5, since I got home from Madison Square Garden that night, and 45 years later, I'm here, and all the hard work pays off. If you keep working hard, you will make everything you want come true. And I've been wanting to do stuff in the KISS camp forever, and it's not something I sought out. but it organically happens. When you work hard, good things happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like that with a lot of Kiss stuff because you see a lot of interactions of like people who have got to work with Kiss. A lot of it's just a lot of like random luck, with a photographer just kind of sneaking in a camera and doing like that to people who work with them. It's crazy to hear those stories, but it's like Kiss was one of those people who were like, well, shit, this people have the balls to do this, and let's see what they can do.
Yeah, my whole life it's weird. Like it always comes back to Kiss at a certain point because it's what I love, and it's passion that I have. So when you do something passionately, all that positive stuff comes back to you. So over the years, whether I've tried to get record deals or I tried to get TV deals, whatever I was trying to do, somehow it always came back to Kiss, and that Kiss connection made those things happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. It's just this weird kismet, but you put it back to Kiss, and all stuff will happen.
The Kissiverse.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. And another thing that's also very cool about this particular event, not only do you have Peter Criss here, Edward Furlong, James DeBello.
Yeah.
So we got to take a moment to talk about Detroit Rock City. What do you remember going back to the very end of the 90s when that movie came out?
First of all, I love that movie. I'm a big fan of Kiss Meets the Phantom, too.
Yes.
And when Detroit Rock City was announced, I was over the moon. And I thought it was the perfect movie. I just thought it was this feel-good. I was those kids. Battling. My friends used to battle it with their parents. I remember I was 12 years old. I lived in Brooklyn, New York. Me and my friends would take the train by ourselves, into Manhattan, to Port Authority bus terminal, and then a bus into New Jersey to go see Kiss. We were 12 years old. And I remember my mom would tell me, my mom wasn't the woman that was in the movie. She was supportive, but my friends' parents were like, you can't do this. You can't go see Kiss, blah, blah, blah. You, what are you doing? You can't go there. You're only 12 years old. So they would lie. They'd say, oh, we're sleeping out. We're sleeping at this one's house. We're sleeping at that one's house. And my mom would tell me, listen, you can go. Just don't look anyone in the eyes on the train.
Lynn Shay's amazing in that mother role, though.
Yeah.
Like, so good.
We even joked around it because, James was walking around a little bit. I'm like, hey, kid, give me your Kiss tickets.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Calls the huge brother over to just knock him across the room.
When she burns those tickets, how much do you want to just strangle her in that
that's
movie?
But then you're like, come on, James, you couldn't have. Those are prized possessions, man. To let those out of your sight to begin with.
I couldn't agree more.
Oh, yeah.
They should have never even been in the jacket that he was thinking about. That should have been in some underwear.
I agree.
The soul just leaving your body as those tickets are going on. And
evil.
And even
and then winning
the
tickets and then forgetting to hang up before you're like, oh, come on.
Oh, my God, right.
Yeah.
Like,
They start strangling him in the elevator because he screwed it up
I
again.
love that movie. And then they all go off their own way to try to get their own tickets and furlong strips. And I love it. It's a great movie.
So
And they have to
good.
beat each other up to get into.
Yep.
I mean, great.
Shannon Tweed as the cougar at the bar.
Yeah. And then they kind of, just brought in that resurgence of that Kiss reunion with the original four crew. So it's so awesome to see that. But speaking of other movies, I know we're at the New Jersey Horror Con. Are you into horror movies, and what kind of horror movies were you into?
Absolutely into all the classics, the whole Friday the 13th series, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Exorcist is still to me the greatest horror movie of all time. So I love all those horror movies. Maybe I don't love so much of the big gore ones, but this, the supernatural ones or the thriller ones, love that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, and then like I said, going into and stuff like that with people that you've worked with throughout your career. Is there anybody that obviously barring people who are no longer with us, that you would like to work with, or possibly trying to do something with somebody that you would like to whether it's help them on an album or just do a project with them in general?
I mean, listen, I'm fans of so many musicians, and knock on wood, I've got to work with just about everyone that I grew up being a hero of mine. All the way up to today with Twisted Sister. Twisted Sister, one of my favorite bands, top 3 bands of all time for me. Growing up, I worshipped Twisted Sister during the Stay Hungry and the UK stuff.
I'm a fanatic.
Those videos on MTV were, life-changing too. I was 10 years old at the time, so they were like bigger than life to me. And now, full circle, that me being the drummer of Twisted Sister, it's an incredible opportunity.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how did that phone call or email or connection? Like, how did that go and happen?
Just incredible. Turn of events. I've been friends with the Twisted camp for a long time. A lot of the guys from Twisted were on my old show called Z-Rock. It was on IFC. D was on. JJ was on. Eddie was on. So I know the camp for a long time. My band ZO2 toured with Twisted here and there. So the guys know me. We've been really friendly over the years. And when Joey Franco couldn't do the whole run with them, they gave me a call to see if I was interested. I was like, are you kidding me? Yes. So I'm over the moon excited.
Yeah. That's so awesome. Yeah. And one thing that goes hand in hand with, especially 80s, horror movies, is the music and the rock music that goes along with it. We were having a conversation with Steve earlier about an episode that we did about, based off the M3 festival, where we talked about the movie Trick or Treat, which is amazing with Fastway doing the soundtrack, but we put it up against the Devil's Pick, which was
Strangeland, D. Snyder.
Oh my God, of course.
And that soundtrack was like that reminiscent of what that newer age of music, that more late 90s, early 2000s industrial metal.
Of course, and that was a great movie.
Oh, I love
it. D's so talented.
Captain Howard, as Captain Howard is amazing. Tattoos and the piercings and stuff like that. It's bar none. I think it's a way too underrated film.
I couldn't agree more.
So underrated. Like, I fight tooth and nail, and I will die on the sword for how great Trick or Treat is.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's a tougher sell nowadays because it doesn't age as well. It's still so enjoyable, and I watch it regularly. But one of the things we talked about was Strangeland is really good and ahead of its time, especially with the internet now. And Devil and I are not a sadness or a dirt type of show when it comes to that, but unfortunately it's a different world we live in now, where internet and predators is a thing now, unfortunately. And it really shows that movie, more than people understand, is ahead of its time.
Still way before it was even known.
Yeah, the internet was brand new.
Yeah.
So I mean, for D to have that wherewithal or that thought process, it's kind of crazy.
Not only the writing in that movie, but his acting in that. Oh my God, it's phenomenal.
Where they, people were always wondering whether or not you think he was rehabilitated, and I honestly think that he was, and I think that those guys brought that Captain Howdy back out.
And how do you look back at Sammy Kerr with Trick or Treat?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I remember as a kid, that I didn't know that movie as a kid. All I knew was Gene Simmons and Ozzy were on the cover. So when I finally got a hold of it, I was like, back then, anything with a Kiss member in it was gold. So I don't know, like you said, I haven't watched it in many years, so I don't know if it holds up anymore today, but back then, I loved it.
I mean, Devil, I would say, we discussed this, it holds up. But again, it's a much more lower budget and a trickier concept because it's got that 80s vibe, and
a lot of those Friday the 13th and stuff. They're would they hold up in today's marketplace? I don't know.
The CGI is very tricky back then. Nowadays,
So
that's definitely a thing for sure when it comes to that. And another thing that Devil and I are big in, and we know that you're in, is we are wrestling guys.
Of course.
So talk a little bit about what you liked about wrestling growing up and how you got into it. Of course, you got Joey Licious. And how do you look at things like WWE and AEW now?
So again, same thing like Kiss. I grew up on 80s wrestling. I was in Madison Square Garden the night Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik for the title the first time. I was 10 years old in Madison Square Garden, losing my mind as a little kid. Wrestling, I grew up with just as much as Kiss and rock music. So it was literally my other calling. And that's where Wrestling with Joey Licious comes in. So I built this YouTube video series. I star as myself, all the old wrestling legends, the Iron Sheik, Roddy Piper, Mick Foley, Tito Santana, Jake the Snake Roberts, all these guys star in the show with me. And it's kind of my alternate reality. If I didn't become a rock star and I wanted to become a wrestler, but I never made it as a wrestler, and I kind of struggling along the way, and these guys come on to help me live my dream. But on the book front, I am working on, should be out later this month in June, tribute to, I was a big wrestling magazine fan.
For sure.
Growing up, I'd ride my bike to every newsstand to get the new wrestling magazine. So
I got an Illustrated.
Wrestling Illustrated, The Wrestler, all that stuff. So I did a 50-year history of the wrestling rankings and promotions and champions based on all the old wrestling magazines. So you hold it in your hand, you feel like you have an old wrestling magazine in your hand, but it's 50 years of stats.
Man, I feel like you and Jim Cornette need to get together and go bowling.
Oh my God. I can't wait to see what he thinks of it.
Absolutely, for sure. Devil?
Yeah, I mean, even adding that to the wrestling and stuff like that was, who was your biggest, inspiration for me? I've always been a Hulk fan and stuff like that. To me, I was always Ultimate Warrior was
me too.
just because him coming on that ring, the face paint, and just the intensity that he had was bar none the greatest.
Listen, I'll always be a big '80s wrestling fan.
Yeah.
So Hulk, Macho, Warrior, all those guys to me
Roddy,
were bigger than like Roddy. Oh, that's my era. So yeah, if I gotta pick the four: Hulk, Macho, Warrior, Andre. I mean, you can't go wrong. And my first love in wrestling was Superfly.
Oh yeah!
Right. First time I saw
Jimmy
Superfly,
Snuka,
Saturday morning wrestling, Channel 9, local to New York. I saw there was a clip, and this is how my new book opens. The first clip, Don Morocco's being interviewed by Buddy Rogers, and Snooker's in the ring, and Morocco confronts Snooker and spits on him. Snooker loses his mind, rips Morocco's clothes off, and as a little 9-year-old kid, I was hooked for life.
Oh, that's awesome. And to put you on the spot because it's just kind of fun, who's your Mount Rushmore?
So in my wrestling book, so it's almost impossible to really do the Mount Rushmore. So what I did in my book, the center pages, much like these pages where they're color, the center pages of the new wrestling book, it has the Mount Rushmore, my Mount Rushmore of each decade. So 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. So if you buy the book, which will be available on Amazon most likely in June, same with this, Amazon.com. That Steve Brown right there. The handsome.
What I want
and
you all to
powerful.
know is who is Joey Cassata? That is the question.
Can you shade this a bit?
I love this guy.
Book, and you'll see what I think the Mount Rushmore of all the decades are.
Nice, because like for me, like again, it's so impossible to do. But like when I do the simplest version of like who and when I was growing up with wrestling, for me it was always the Ultimate Warrior, Sting, Raven, and Jeff Hardy. Those are just the four first people that I each gravitated to when they came on the scene. And then I'm always going to gravitate towards darker characters. So a shout out to my fellow brethren in Gangrel and Vampiro, because I always loved what they were doing. And me and Mrs. Vamp are huge Rhea Ripley.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah. But again, you can't go. It's all personal preference, right? There's no Mount Rushmore. There's no such thing, right? How do you not put Flair up there? How do you not put Hogan up there? You got to put. So the way I broke it up. I even broke it up. Mount Rushmore women, Mount Rushmore masked wrestlers, Mount Rushmore of painted face
people
wrestlers.
who are technical wrestlers. Like, I mean, even though it's controversial, I don't care what anybody says. Chris Benoit is one of the greatest wrestlers. Personal, in-ring obviously, but personality or the things that happen. But as a wrestler, you can't deny how talented of a wrestler he was.
Because when you talk about things like, if you look at like a marketing standpoint, I actually watched MJF say this recently in an interview where he's like, when you're looking at things like marketing, there's like the correct answers are things like, Ric Flair, Stone Cold, John Cena's, the Mount Rushmore, like those are maybe technically the correct answers when it comes to what kept wrestling, and Hulk Hogan when they're there, because Hulk Hogan being the first person on Sports Illustrated, the first wrestler on Sports Illustrated, and things like that.
To me, it's impossible. Hulk is the one guy you can't not have on your list. He's the reason why wrestling is what it is today.
Without him, there wouldn't even be.
Whether you like him, don't like him, he's responsible for everything. He's the boom that happened.
Totally, and if not for my personal love of the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk would have been in his space on that speed little one that I put you together for sure. But Devil, anything final from yourself, my friend?
Anything else you want to plug, talk about that you can talk about for this year?
Just check me out. Go to Amazon.com. Check out all my books on Amazon.com. The new wrestling book will be out mid-July. Kiss Drummers is on there. Check me out on social media at Joey Cassata across all platforms.
Absolutely. Joey, thank you so much, my friend. Brother, it's always so great to see you and have a good time.
Great to see you guys.
Thanks and Infernos. Thank you guys so much. We got more coming out for you for New Jersey HorrorCon again tomorrow as well. But it's actually a wrap on Joey's weekend, so we again really appreciate his time. So we will see you guys real soon. He is the Devil. I'm Vampire. More importantly than that, he is Joey Cassata. Horns up. Fangs out.